Would you like to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Speakeasy and master connector Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on this planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another amazing episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond. Today on Thrive Loud, we have someone that rocked the fashion industry and takes every business she's led to new heights. She's currently the founder of Ahara First Precision Nutrition and Weight Loss Company, and a best-selling author. Thrive Loud listeners, we got the real deal here as I bring you Julie Wainwright. Julie, welcome to Thrive Loud.
Hey, Lou. How are you?
I'm doing much better now because I got you here. And you got a really cool story and a really exciting career that has happened along the way. A lot of cool things. Here's what I want to do. I don't want to go all the way back to the womb. Where I want to go, Julie, is I want to kind of understand how and what the real deal is all about and how this kind of became your gig.
The RealReal is it redefined the whole fashion world because it's luxury consignment. It's the first time anyone had actually created one site for authenticated luxury consignment. And it also does all the work for the consignor and ships directly to the consumer. Prior to the RealReal, there were consignment stores and eBay. So we redefined the whole category and consequently had an impact on the fashion industry because the luxury fashion world had never had this type of after-sale market to consider before.
So this is a not only unique way of doing things, I kind of want to understand also, this became $1 billion opportunity and changing everything around it, all these different businesses.
And it's on the way to $2 billion this year. It was heading toward, in 2022, it was $1 billion when I left, and it's heading toward $2 billion this year.
So I want to kind of understand, in time to get real, if you would here, explain to our listeners maybe a little bit of how you recognize that this was the solution to a problem that you saw. Everyone loves to understand how you kind of solve the problem out there. What was the aha moment to you that made you say, this is something we should do?
So I didn't really know it was a problem. What I did is I analyzed the competitive space in e-commerce and looked at primarily what Amazon could do versus what they couldn't do. And I had a matrix. Not a lot of things they can't do. Luxury was one of them, but I had no ideas. In fact, I kept thinking, well, I'm not going to start a luxury brand. So just put that by the side. I had other ideas I was exploring. And then I was shopping with a girlfriend in a store that had full price things in the front and luxury consignment in the back. That's where she spent her money. I couldn't believe it, to be honest, because I knew her well. I'd never seen her walk into a consignment store. I'd never seen this behavior. So when we got out of the store, I asked her why she bought pre-owned things. She said she didn't look at it that way. She bought Prada, Louis Vuitton, and Gucci at a great price, and she didn't care if they were pre-owned. Then I asked her, would she ever shop on eBay? And she said no, she didn't trust the sources from eBay, that things would be authentic, and she didn't want to deal with a person-to-person sale. Then I asked her if she'd ever consigned before. She said no, it was too hard. But at that moment, it crystallized the whole business for me. I spent a month researching the luxury market, another month testing all these current ways that back in 2010 to look at it, to try to understand how to compete. And by March of 2011, I had a name, I'd raised a little bit of money, and by June of 2011, I actually launched the business. So I sort of, it was more like analyzing where the opportunities were. And then even though I knew I wasn't going to create a luxury business, clearly I didn't shut it down in my head, because when I saw it, I ran fast. And then I do have this other idea about businesses in general, which I think is true, meaning that if I got this spark and I knew it was a big opportunity, somebody else knew at the same time. And therefore, I needed to move fast and execute better. And I've seen it time and time again in the venture capital world. And sure enough, there were at that time 4 or 5 other resale businesses going for funding at the exact same time I was, which is surreal. No one had my market segment identified nor the operational component, which was both a positive and a negative for investors.
Why would you say it's the negative?
Look, there's when I'll give you an idea of the scope. When I left the RealReal, we had 1.5 million square feet of ops centers, and we're getting in every single month between 300 to 500,000 individual items and processing it. No one had ever done anything like that before. To give you an idea, a superstore may have in it 100,000 SKUs all year, but we're getting in 6 million a year, and each individual school. And so the issue was the processing overhead would be too significant to get the company to profitability, which in fact, that was an area that could be automated quite a bit by AI and machine learning, which the company started on that path under me in 2018, and it's really made a huge difference. But back then, no one was thinking that way. So, that was, and the other thing is, I raised money in Silicon Valley. It's not exactly a lover of luxury items,
right?
Nor fashion. However, they understand technology. It was a technology play, but it's not a place. I mean, for most of the investors I met with, eBay will do well. Thank you very much. But they like marketplaces without a back-end drag, a pure play marketplace.
Interesting. I'm looking at your whole career here, Julie. You're right. And for those who know, she lives in Northern California, and you're in a space where there's a little bit of a tech bubble there. But you have managed to find the ways to work in industries that are offshoots, if you would, from the core technology piece and thrive in each one of them. But more notably, move from one to the other and take those other things to new levels. One of the things I love to ask, we'll call them entrepreneurial CEOs who find the right opportunity. For you, what does success look like? Because a lot of people find it like, hey, I've made a certain achievement and now I want to get to the next thing. Or is it something else for you? I would love to know how you define success going in and going out.
So mostly I had been a CEO to hire, and you can only, therefore you always had to get a good return for your investors, and that was considered success. And I mostly did that. I had one failure, pets.com. What I defined success with the RealReal was different. It really was sort of I know this sounds corny, but it's true, a double bottom line. And what I meant with that is the company was financially successful, but it was also good for the planet. And we literally brought the idea of recirculating goods and quantified the environmental impact of recirculating goods versus buying new, or having clothes end up in a landfill. We brought that to people's awareness and really made a dent in people's thinking for sustainability and the importance of recirculating goods. Clearly, didn't change the low end of the market, which is where all the damage is being done. But we did bring that to the forefront. And for me, that's success. It's both having a financial reward and influencing people in a way that is actually positive on a bigger level for the planet.
So let's talk about this lovely opportunity that you've had, which is you get a chance to write about it. And here you were from the writing process. I love asking content creators this question. While you have given a little bit of a gift to share your story and maybe the lessons learned, which is what the reader, viewer, listener, whatever it is, however they absorb content these days, gets from Time to Get Real, there's always a happy accident that the content creator herself gets when you created it. In putting this book out there, Julie, what gift in return did you get from creating Time to Get Real?
All right, let me just back up. First of all, I've had an agent for a while, and I said, look, I've never written a book. So she introduced me to a ghostwriter, and it was clear that no one else could tell the story. So I sat down, and in a month, wrote 30,000 words, fired the person that was the ghostwriter, wrote 30,000 words, sent it to my agent, said, this is the story I want to tell. Do you think this is something someone would want to read? So the first gift was finding out I could write a book, I guess. Nothing I had done before. But that, she said, yes, keep writing. This is great. So that was a gift. If the book, I had a moment when the book was done, and because it required a lot of legal reviews, I wasn't sure that it was going to be published in a way that had integrity, that I would have to remove a lot of names or situations based on the risk profile of the publisher. And I thought, I don't really want to do that because it's not going to be authentic. So there was a catharsis that came from writing the book and a perspective I had on the journey that was very helpful to me, and I was willing to not publish it and not go through with it. It turns out the legal review and the edits for that were light, but even more than that, something else happened, which was mind-blowing. And there was a young man in a hotel that was a porter, in a hotel I was staying out in London during the time where it was like, should I publish or not publish, go forward or not? I felt like it was like, all right, the book I feel good about it. I'm glad I can write a book. Who knew? And it doesn't really have to be seen by others. He said, I know your story, and I really hope you write a book someday. He said that to me the second day. I saw him 2 nights in a row. I never saw him the rest of my stay. And I thought, here's this young man in London that heard about the RealReal. And maybe he heard about the fact that I started this business when I was in my 50s. I don't know. I was so shocked that he knew anything about the business that I really took it as a sign that I should go ahead and move forward with publishing the book, because I do believe when you share things that have a lot of information that will help people, it always comes back to you. But I would say, on just a personal level, writing a story that is, it's a dramatic story. There were a lot of twists. There were, major corporations in the fashion industry that tried to put a big dent in the RealReal, and I would say would prefer we didn't exist, told me to my face that they would prefer the company didn't exist and were working against the company. So there's a lot going on. There's thugs that came to my door one night late, and which was interesting, from a counterfeiter pounding on my door. So, there's a lot in it to talk about, but also really good lessons. And I do hope it helps someone. But, it's an odd thing writing a book because it's a solitary process. And I'm used the tech world's a collaborative process. So you put things out, you work with people across multiple functions, you iterate, you get feedback, you iterate feedback from, potential customers, and it's an constant iterative process. Writing a book is sitting down, sometimes drinking too much wine when the bad parts needed to come out, and having a small group of readers that read it, and you're like, okay, It's pretty scary, I think. It's not the way I'm used to working. So that was a new situation. It is scary and I said, should I have other people read it? My agent's like, no. It'll get distorted. It won't be your voice. Something will happen between now and then.
I'm just trying to imagine the fashion mafia thugs knocking on your door. They're probably the most well-dressed folks in the entire world knocking on.
Oh no, this was counterfeiters. These were counterfeiters. Yeah, no, they were scary. They were big and scary. And I decided to change my front door after that, which had a lot of glass. So then that was then moved to a solid door. No, they were scary and intentionally scary. I mean, that was sent because we had confiscated this guy's goods and they were, opened the box. They were clearly fake Prada bags, and you open up the glue, like people were passing out from smelling the bad glue, and he wanted them back. And it's funny, every counterfeiter we worked with at the RealReal that sued the company always had a brother in Florida, Joe, in Florida, Lou. They had a brother in Florida that was a lawyer. I don't know, it's just coincidence, maybe. I don't know.
It's probably a tax reason. It's probably a tax reason, if anything else, more than anything.
I'm sure. But anyway, it was counterfeiters are an odd group. I mean, they get away with it. They can fly under the radar for a long time and make a lot of money until they don't.
I think I found what was it was HBO or someone did a doc. Call it one of those more well put together documentaries, those real life stories of the Gucci family and how they were encouraging the counterfeiters because they knew that it was helping to drive the their own brand up and more popularity, which was kind of interesting. Just like I
think they moved past that. Let me tell you, a luxury brand that does not like counterfeiters and does not like resale, that would be Chanel. So that was another level of people that the RealReal and I had to deal with.
You currently have obviously you have this book out here now, and you also have a new venture. You want to talk a little bit about what you're doing currently? And explain that to the listeners so they can get a little bit of awareness of what you're up to today.
Oh, sure. I mean, look, the world can run off of great algorithms, and nutrition is the beginning of great health. So by putting in your own information into this algorithm, we brought together the best minds in the field of nutrition to point out what micro and macronutrients you're missing from your diet in order to balance it properly, and then make recipe recommendations and key food. So it's really, really critical. It's funny that special diets are really important once someone has a disease, but in fact, many of illnesses can be prevented by what you eat and exercise. So it really is trying to get people before they develop these illnesses, and it's great. It works. I mean, it does change people's perspective. And even if you do small things, like for me, I was never eating seeds at all because I don't like them anyway. But putting chia seeds,
yep.
I mean, they're like they're crunch. Anyway, I'm not a seed and nut person.
To each his own. I totally get it. Yeah.
No, but I mean, I also don't get enough omegas in my diet because I also don't like salmon. So anyway, omegas are really important. Seeds are really important. Just throwing some chia seeds into things actually did change my blood workout when I came through, as opposed to, because ideally your best nutrients come from food, not from supplements. So and clearly you have to supplement some things like vitamin D. It's really important. And that could be, people have very odd symptoms. If they're low on vitamin D, they're often missed. But beyond that, for someone that actually does get a blood workup every year, and I did it every 6 months, and it made a big impact on just making small changes to my diet, made a huge impact. And these are good things because they're heart healthy things to do. And, there are real implications by eating the right food.
Julie, you in this, before we get on to the admin part of the show and Fun Street, I want to ask this question as it relates to the roles you play as a leader. There are lots of different hats you have to wear leading the initiatives. There's coming up with the ideas, there's overseeing them. In this particular case, there's obviously, capturing them and writing about them and figuring out the right decisions. In all the different hats you have to wear as a leader, is there one that you like to wear more often than not?
I think it really does come down to collaborating with really smart people every day is a gift. It's sort of an honor to work with smart people to solve the problems you have to solve. They're cross-functional. In the case of almost all of my companies, there's a lot of diversity, which I know is a dirty word now, but it does make a difference when people come with different perspectives. And seeing that magic happen, it's not just problem solving, creative problem solving with other people is absolutely so exciting to do. Having said that, as a leader, you still have to make the call at the end of the day. But I would say that's the most fun. The thing I did with the RealReal, which is never fun, but necessary, every 6 months I raised capital for 11 years. So I was out raising money, meeting with people, getting mostly no's, trying to also keep the company go every 6 months for 11 years. And that's the least fun, but it's a necessary part for me, it was a necessary part of the public. The other part of the process, the other thing though that was surreal and still to this day is one of the highlights of my life was taking the company public. Yeah. That day was amazing. And also the fact that, employees will have money now. Many employees that have been there a long time could buy a home or a condo now for the first time. Your investors get their money out. It's recognition that you've come that far. So then in terms of the biggest highlight and the most fun, that was right up there. That is right up there.
Getting to ring the bell or hit the hammer is an
it's in NASDAQ you press a button and then you sort of fake it, but that's okay because it's already happened. But you're like, they're like, press it now, act like something's happening. You're like, all right. But anyway, it's a big moment that I guess out of 20,000 companies every year that are formed, 200 end up going public. So it's a small club, and it's a great club.
Yeah, and in some years it's less than that. So it's a small universe.
This year, it's pretty dry this year.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think it's cracked 100 at least, but it may have. We'll find out soon. It's only July, so we got some time. Let's do the admin part of the show. Share with the listeners, Julie, all the places people can learn about you, find you, grab a copy of Time to Get Real. I just keep thinking your social media manager needs to create the real reels. I just think that would be like the trifecta for all. But let everybody know where they can find you. Yeah.
All right. So at RealReal Julie on Instagram, you can find me there. You can buy the book anywhere, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, fine stores. Amazon voted Time to Get Real as one of the best books of 2025. And then they wrote the words so far. So I don't know, maybe I'll be knocked off the next 6 months. I think that's so funny. But it has been chosen as one of the best books overall, and then one of the best leadership books as a category. So that was a bit of a surprise. But I would say Barnes & Noble's, Amazon, at RealReal Julie on Instagram, and that's it. Perfect. I have to say, people are yelling at me because I don't have a website. But I mean, really, everything you need to know is at RealReal Julie on Instagram.
Love it. We are going to go down Fun Street together, Julie. We've been having fun from the very beginning, but I'm going to dive down a little bit of a different channel. We're going to ease on to Fun Street here, and I'm going to start off by asking you, Julie, do you have an all-time favorite movie?
Oh, what a question. Oh my gosh, I am such a movie person. I has to be, then there was, I'm going to go with Godfather, the first Godfather, because I can watch that over and over again. But I mean, honestly, the last one, what was the last Quentin Tarantino and the Hollywood one
was great. Great movie.
I was amazing. But I love movies. Remember, I don't know. I tend to get stuck on a director. When I was younger, it was Mike Leigh,
Yeah.
who did these really personal movies from the 80s, all angst riven in the UK, but it was so intense, and certainly anything Spielberg. But I'm still going to go with the first Godfather, because everything about it was engaging and lush and amazing.
And as a top-notch leader, Julie, one of the best leadership books. Lots of lessons, on how to conduct business and how to, to treat whether it's your family or your company in certain ways, right? Real important leadership lessons. I always love that. So I'm with you on that. All right, so we're going to do the speed round here. I know you will have no problems with this. We call this the Speakeasy Pub Crawl, where we stop at all the fun, cool places that matter a lot to Julie. We stop by and kind of get a feel for what she's all about. So here we go. Julie, of late, a song you've been listening to, or maybe one that pumps you up.
I just met Diane Warren.
Ooh.
All right. So I've been listening to, I just met her in person. I'm like, she's such an icon. And right before we got here, I was listening to Cher sing If I Could Turn Back Time. So that, I have to say, recent, it's that. But that's because I met Diane Warren in person. And I'm like, I have to go deeper. This woman's, she's a genius. Anyway, she's a songwriter. She is a legend. Most people, because she's behind the scenes, don't know that she wrote for almost every pop star she's written for.
Love it. A favorite food that's not a dessert?
This is so boring. Ready? I'm almost embarrassed to say it. I love raw vegetables, but I really love raw cabbage. I love a good slaw. I love a good coleslaw.
I'm jotting down this moment in history. That is definitely the first time when a favorite food has been discussed.
It's summer now. I don't know. A good coleslaw, not too much mayo. It's just like the best.
A summer slaw. I'll give you that. I'll give you that one. I do like that.
Okay. I know it's a weird food, but
it's good. Favorite dessert?
I always love gelatos.
Can't go wrong.
Or a sorbetto. Yeah. Gelatos or sorbettos, can't go wrong. And if it's really a wonderful Italian one, it's like, it's heaven. Just a little taste of it. I don't like chocolate, which is maybe obscene, but.
An activity you wish you did more of?
I'm really, I love hiking. And I wish I did it every day, to be honest. And I don't have an excuse for not doing it every day, because there's mountains right here. But I love it. I love being outside like that. So hiking.
An activity you wish you did less of?
Organizing anything. Like, I've got this garage that's just screaming every time I walk in, just like throw stuff out. And I keep thinking about it. Like, I almost started on it yesterday, but I thought, there's better things to do.
A new activity, one that Julie Wainwright has recently tried, she likes so much she wants to tell all the listeners and viewers to try.
All right, this is going to sound trite, but I don't care. I absolutely love pickleball. And I know it's like, it's so much fun. I love being out on a community court where you see people of all ages, all physical types out there having fun. You can't get I know there's intense players, but you really can't get that serious when you play, because it's pickleball. It's so much fun.
We couldn't agree more. We're on the same page. If I could snap my fingers and Julie can be anywhere in the world, where is she?
Oh my God. I'll tell you and I am deciding between this, and it's like, I love New York City. And I love it. And part of me is like, what am I doing in California? I should just be in New York City. I think it's one of the best cities in the world. But look, I just came back from Sun Valley. Sun Valley's beautiful. But I would say if I'm really thinking about like something that speaks to my soul, it's either something like a Sun Valley that's like, you know, out in nature, or New York City. It's the best.
Julie Wainwright.
And the worst. And the worst. It's the best and the worst, which is why I love it. I love it.
It's got that's what makes the city the only place in the world. The city that never sleeps. I lived there for most of my life. Now, only about 2 years ago I left New York, and I'll always be a New Yorker. So it's a tough thing to take out.
There you go.
Definitely.
And you know slaw. There's good slaw in New York. You know, good coleslaw.
There's a lot of other things I would put ahead of slaw, but that's just my own opinion, and those are your answers, and this is your stroll down Fun Street on the things that you want to pick up. So this is what it's about. Julie Wainwright, everybody go check it out. The Real Deal. She's here. Go check out her book, everything that she's got going on. Pleasure to have you on Thrive Loud. Keep doing what you're doing for the businesses you're doing, the world that you're helping out, and make some changes. The world appreciates it and needs you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lou.
To all our listeners and viewers out there, thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.